So a few years ago, my older daughter decided to give me a Christmas gift that she felt is something that I would appreciate having, but probably wouldn't spend the money on myself. And she was right. And what she gave me was a fire piston. This is a commercially made fire piston by Wilderness Solutions. It's known as the FireStar. And I'll give you a close-up on it. I'll open it up, take it apart. So basically a fire piston is two components: the piston itself and the chamber. And it works on a principle very similar to the diesel engine, wherein when the piston is pushed down with force, the air that is compressed inside heats up dramatically. And as it does, any combustible material inside the chamber will ignite. So that's how the fire piston works. But you don't use diesel fuel like you do with a diesel engine. In this case, you would use something similar to a char cloth, or maybe chaga, maybe even some punkwood. Now just give you another look at the end of the piston. So the way this works is I'll take a small bit of char cloth and I'll put it right in the tip of the piston, and it will hold it there. Now some pistons have claws, some even have a little bit of a hole that go through the center or through the side of it to hold the char cloth in place. So I'm going to set this up and give a demonstration. I'll give you a few other observations of this device as well. So the Wilderness Solutions FireStar is a commercially made fire piston, and it has a couple of unique features. And what I like about it is, well, first off, it does have a bit of a weight, but it's made of aluminum, so it's very sturdy. What I especially like about it is, and you'll see, a fire piston has to have good seal in order for it to maintain that pressure as you slam the piston home. And if you notice, this one resists being pulled out. And that's true of most fire pistons as well. Well, all fire pistons for that case. But the Wilderness Solutions people designed in a pressure relief valve that allowed me to take the piston out with ease and put it in with ease. So let me take the pressure relief valve right off. Give you a bit of a close-up. Now, another advantage of this pressure relief valve is, well, I've had it happen, and that is a piece of char cloth that I had put on the end of the piston came off while it was still on the piston, and I had to get it out of there. So I was able to take the piston or the pressure relief valve off and fish it out with a wire out the end. I think it might have been a little bit easier had the end here, the pressure relief port, been a little larger, maybe as large as the bore diameter of the chamber itself. It would have been easier to push that piece out, but still I was able to get it out. Okay, let me set up and give you a demonstration how this works. Alright, so what I have is a piece of char cloth, and I'm going to take a small bit of the char cloth off and make it stick in the end, or put it in the end of the piston here. It doesn't take very much. In fact, much more than that, you'll have too much in the end of it. Nice if it's balled up a little bit tighter. Alright, so there's the char cloth in the end. Now the other piece of char cloth I'm going to hold aside, because what will happen is, and it should be obvious to you, that the char cloth that's on the end of the piston is not enough by itself, or probably not enough by itself to light a fire, even with a good bird's nest. But what you can do is, once you get this glowing into an ember, is I can transfer that ember onto the larger piece of char cloth, put that inside my bird's nest, and then blow that into flame. So I have an impromptu birch and bark and bracken bird's nest sitting here. So I'm going to demonstrate this for you now. Okay, so here we go. We have the piston ready with the char cloth on the tip. Place it in the chamber, strike it home hard. Sometimes it works on the first strike. There we go, second strike. Transfer that to the char cloth. Alright, char cloth is starting to glow. Place that into my bird's nest. and we have flame. Okay, so what are my thoughts on fire pistons? Well, I don't know how practical they are, to be quite honest. Yes, they will start a fire. They do conserve char cloth nicely. They allow you to use a small piece of char cloth, so you can save your char cloth and maybe apply the ember once it's ignited to something a little larger, like a piece of chaga or a piece of punkwood. So in that way they do conserve, but they have weight and sometimes they're a little finicky. You have to use 2 or 3 strikes sometimes in order before they will ignite the ember on the end of the piston. So they're not without their downsides, but they are a fun thing to have. I'm glad I have it. I probably would not have bought it myself. I don't carry it on a regular basis, but you may decide that you want to try one of these out. Now, you know, you can make one. You don't have to buy a commercially prepared one. I have seen a number of plans for ones on the internet using aluminum tubing and copper tubing and even a tubing inside of a wood chamber. So yeah, look into it. It may be something that you want to try out for yourself. Okay, so if this was all interest to you, why don't you subscribe to my channel? Maybe even hit the like button. And until next time, get out and explore. Take the path less traveled. It'll make all the difference. Bye for now.